Hello family. Today I am doing my version of what I call the bombest cake in the world. Like, it tastes like a cake that would take hours to make, like a really moist, southern, rich, just bomb fattening calorie cake. Very simple ingredients, very quick, easy. I can make cakes from scratch, with the cake flour and all that other kind of stuff, but this is what I'm going to be using today because it's just so quick. And if I want something that, like, if I don't have coconut extract and I want a coconut cake, these are the way to go. But today I'm making a French vanilla cake. I was going to use some kind of fruit puree or something, like a blueberry, to put in this. But I don't have it, so I just decided to go ahead and make just the regular vanilla cake, French vanilla cake. Okay, on the box it says you will need 1 cup of water, a half a cup of vegetable oil, and 3 eggs. We are going to use those ingredients, but we are going to add stuff and take away stuff. So mostly we're going to be adding, but don't pay attention to the directions. So scratch that. Alright, we're going to be using some Wesson canola oil. I like canola oil. I don't care for vegetable oil very much. Canola oil works for me and my family. This is what I use. You don't have to use canola oil if you don't want to. You can always opt for like a different kind of oil, coconut oil, which is a healthy alternative. And you can use vegetable oil, peanut oil, sunflower oil, whatever. Just some kind of cooking oil. You can just don't use olive oil. I don't think olive oil would be it's not a bake friendly kind of oil, because it kind of gets hot. It's not really good for extreme temperatures. Like, I don't know, but I don't use olive oil. I don't want to use olive oil. Next, I've got some heavy whipping cream and some half and half. I get all my stuff from Walmart, y'all. As y'all can see, great value, and great value. I get all my ingredients from Walmart. Thumbs up to Walmart. Heavy whipping cream, half and half. Some sour cream, some butter. You're going to use a whole stick of butter. 4 eggs. And I'm going to show you the next step. And of course, you're going to need a bowl to mix your cake in and a whisk. And we're going to get started. Disregard all of this stuff right here. I'm going to probably move it out of the way. And you're also going to need some kind of electric blender. I'm going to be using my NutriBullet if it will work for me today. You don't have to. You can always just use a whisk. But for me, I'm just going to be using the NutriBullet. So I'll be back with the next part of the video. Stay tuned. Okay, guys, I'm back. I probably did forget to mention that I use 4 eggs. The recipe calls for 3, but I'm using 4. And you want to separate them. If you're going to do this, my method, you're going to need to separate them. And the purpose for separating them is egg yolks are like, it's what make the cake really dense. The egg whites is what makes the cake really fluffy. I feel like the method that I'm using, separate my egg whites and I beat them, my cake comes out to be more fluffier. And then not only is it fluffy, it's really dense, like it's really moist. So I'm doing it that way. And I am going to add extracts. I'm going to add a little bit of banana extract and a little bit of vanilla extract. You should use real vanilla, but this is all I had in my pantry. So I'm going to use these 2. I did say that I was going to be using my NutriBullet, but I changed my mind because my NutriBullet has really been acting up on me. And I just don't want to risk losing egg. I want to save all I got. So I'm going to be using my food processor that comes with this little mixing thingamajigger. I'll be using that. And I've just separated my eggs. My egg yolks do have a little bit of egg white in it, but that's alright. Y'all let me know what y'all do for your egg yolks. Like these little white parts in here, I don't particularly like them in there. I just don't like them. I mean, it probably doesn't really matter, but I'm going to get rid of them. So, and you are going to need some cake pans. So, forgot to add that. I will be right back in just a second with clean looking eggs and egg fluffs, egg whites. Hey guys, I am back. I did go ahead and put my egg whites in my food processor for about a minute on high speed. You don't want them too fluffy, but you do want them fluffy enough to where they are a like kind of they're not stiff. You don't want them to be stiff. At least I don't. I prefer mine not to be stiff. I mean, if you are a baker expert, all that, you can, you know, do yours stiff, but this is the perfect consistency for me. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my stick of butter, and I just use melted butter. I don't put this in here like that because I don't want it to be stiff. So I want it to be very moist. And I feel like the secret to really moist cake is just oil or butter or any kind of oil. You know, obviously that's what gives moisture to anything. You know, oil makes things oily, you know, and you want your cakes to be like that. A dry, stiff cake is not where it's happening. And I'm just trying to put out this video because there are too many people out there spending so much money on buying somebody else's cake that is really moist when they can do the same thing at home really cheap. I mean, you can use any kind of cake mix. That's like the bonus of using pre-made box cake mixes. The flavors and the possibilities are endless, especially if you don't really have time to be in the kitchen, you know, coming up with all kinds of different recipes. And you know, stuff like that costs a lot of money. You have to buy the baking powder, you have to buy the baking soda, you have to have the flavor. You don't have to buy any of that. You can just buy a cake mix and be done with it, you know. I think that's amazing. So enough rambling and on to the good stuff. I will be using my 4 egg yolks, and you want to kind of lightly beat them. I did try to get the egg as clean as possible without all of this nasty looking egg yolk embryo stuff. I don't know, I've always been that way, you guys. But I'm just gonna lightly beat my egg, and it doesn't really even have to be beaten. It just kind of needs to be it doesn't still need to be a yolk, you know. It needs to be one thing. So yes, and I'm getting that out of there. That's disgusting. It just looks terrible. But I will be back, you guys, with the next part of the video. Stay tuned. I went ahead and kind of like poured the egg yolks in here. I didn't want to pour too much in here without you guys seeing it. Exactly what I was putting in. These are the egg yolks. I have my egg whites over here. I still haven't poured them in yet. And in this container right here, if y'all recognize, this is a NutriBullet container. I'm just using whatever I have. I have about a cup and a half of oil. We're gonna pour in 1 stick of butter. So if you are on a diet or you're trying to watch your figure, this cake is probably not a good idea because it's got a lot of fats in it. We've got about 3/4 of a cup of heavy whipping cream, about a 1/4 a cup of half and half milk. I already put about a 3/4 of a cup of water in here. I've got my sour cream that I'm going to show you. I'm probably just going to add like a teaspoon, a tablespoon of sour cream. I got my butter over here. Y'all excuse that. I got my butter over here melting up on the stove. I'm going to get ready to add all of these ingredients in. I'm going to add my sour cream. I'm just like an eyeballer, you guys. So if you don't see me using a measuring spoon or a measuring cup or anything like that, bear with me because, you know, it's just a little bit of here, a little bit of that. So that's about a little bit over a tablespoon of you can yield your ingredients to your liking. That's about a tablespoon, a little bit over a tablespoon of sour cream. I'm adding my oil, water, milk mixture in. I'm adding all of this stuff at one time, so it is gonna be all right. Go ahead and add my egg mixture in. And if you're noticing that white, the egg white, is kind of still liquid. Like I said before, I do not want mine to a stiff peak consistency. Just enough so that it's whipped. Don't want it too stiff. I'm gonna add my butter. 1 whole stick of butter. And I'm gonna go ahead and mix all of this, in, you guys. And I'll be back when everything's nice and smooth. Alright, you guys, I'm back. I have hand whisked my batter. Everything's nice and mixed up. I've got my 2 cake pans ready. I did spray some non-stick cooking spray, butter flavored, in my cake pans, and they are kind of separated because I had them on the stove and the stove was all warming up, preheating. But this is okay. This is fine for me because the pans are fairly new, and they are basically still like non-stick. I just like to spray the non-stick on there just for extra added security. But I have my cake mix mixed up. It smells amazing. I use my hand mixer because not my hand mixer, but my whisk, because I prefer to do it by hand. I just, you know, when you're using a hand mixer or a stand mixer, the more you mix, you're putting air into your batter, and that can make your batter really, really hard and stale tasting, very hard and very unmoist. Doesn't matter how much oil or how much liquid or wetness you put into your mix, it's still going to be very stiff. So I just opt for using my hand mixer. This guy right here is all you need. Don't need anything fancy schmancy. I got my batter ready. If you're noticing that it is some bubbles, that's fine. What I'm going to do is pour my batter into my cake pans, and I'm going to basically tap the batter so that all of the bubbles can float away. You don't want any, you want to try to get as many bubbles out as possible, you know, before you put it in the oven. So this is my batter. It smells really good. I do not recommend anybody tasting the batter. You know, we all used to do it, but it's not really safe considering that you have undercooked product in here, specifically the egg. So this is the batter, and I'm going to get ready to pour it in here. I'm going to try to see if I can do this on camera, but if it's not working out, I'll just, yeah, I'm going to, let me see. I'm doing this with one hand. It's the batter. Excuse my charger, y'all. And I'm probably gonna pour the rest off camera so that I can get all of that batter in there with my scraper. I'll be right back. So my cakes are nicely battered and evenly laid upon in my cake pans. Getting ready to put this in the oven. I've got my oven set to about 350, but the trick about making your cakes taste really good is to bake them really slow. So for about 5 minutes, I'm gonna have my cake in there on 350, and then I'm gonna turn the cake down to, turn the oven down to about 225, and I'm gonna let it cook for about 30-45 minutes in the oven whenever I feel like it looks done enough, because you don't want an undercooked cake, but you don't want a cake that's been baked too long. And sometimes our cake mix box cakes do kind of like have the yields on the ovens kind of different, because I have a gas oven, and a gas oven cooks fairly fast to me, in my opinion. So I'm gonna put my cakes in the oven 350 for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to turn it down to about 225, and I'm going to leave it in there for about 35 minutes, probably 40 minutes if it takes longer than that. So I will see you guys when the cakes are about ready to come out. Back with the final cake. Well, not the final cake, but this is the progress of the cake. so far. I've taken it out of the oven. This is like the perfect, you know, cake for me. It's still, as you can see, tell that it's kind of like still kind of jiggly in the middle, and it's just starting to pull away from the sides. That is like perfect. It does not need to be cooked anymore. This is like the perfect recipe for a really moist cake, in my opinion. So I'm gonna let these cool completely before I ice them. I'm just going to be using a simple cream cheese icing. Nothing fancy for cream cheese icing, and I might come in with like a snapshot or picture of the icing when I make my icing. But all you really need for icing, cream cheese icing, is 1 stick of butter and about a cup of, which is about 8 ounces, which is 1 pack of cream cheese. I'm just gonna say 1 pack of cream cheese, 1 stick of butter, and about a half a cup, no, about 2 cups of confectioner sugar, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. That is it for the cream cheese icing. Not going to be showing, that, because it's pretty simple, but I will add the measurements for the cream cheese icing in the description bar or box below. So yeah, I'm gonna let this cool. Normally I like to take a paper towel or a clean dish rag, and I like to press the cakes, completely close in the cake and press it in. So like I was saying, my phone has so much storage in it that it cut off. But like I was saying, I like to use a clean dish towel or a paper towel, and I like to press the cakes in so that it'll retain all the moisture that you got from cooking. But I just used some plates that I had to do it. It's a really important step. You don't have to do it, but I want the most moist cake that I could possibly get, so I'm going to use everything that I can to make that happen. But these cakes have been sitting here for about a good 30 minutes cooling. I should have taken them out of the pan, but since I figured that I had my plates on top of the cake, it would be okay. It's not gonna hurt them at all. See if I can do this really quickly. Okay, this is the cake. It's still very warm, and you guys can see all of the moisture that's on that plate. You want all of that good moisture to stay in there with that cake so that it can remain moist. You want all of that to stay very moist. See all of that condensation on this plate? That's what you want to keep inside of that cake. You don't want it to exit out into Neverland. But I will be back. Probably will be just showing you the finished last result, and I'll probably just snap some pictures of me icing the cake in between this and the next clip. But yeah, I will see you guys on the next clip. Stay tuned. I'm getting ready to frost my cake. My cake has pretty much cooled about 90%. I'm not gonna wait for like the other 5%. It's very cool. I'm just gonna go ahead and frost my cake because I'm gonna set it in the refrigerator anyway. This is the cake that I'm gonna use for the top of the cake, and this is the cake that's gonna be on the bottom. And the reason why I said that is because these two cakes, this cake is way more level than this cake, and it'll make more for a prettier cake topper. You can always go in with icing and fix it, but to keep from using so much icing, I'm just going to use the cake that's on the top, that's round, nice and flat. So this is my cream cheese icing over here, and I forgot to mention in the clip before this one that you do need to put a little bit of milk in your cream cheese icing mixture. And yeah, mine does have like a little bit of lumps in it, but I think that's fine. You do want your cream cheese and your butter to be at room temperature so that you won't have this problem. I had this kind of problem, so what I had to do is put mine in the microwave a little bit, but I did kind of overcook it, so I had to put it in the freezer for about 10 minutes so it could like stiffen back up. But that's completely fine. It does not have to be pretty. This is just a regular cake. If you wanted to be all of that, then you should take some time to make sure that all of your ingredients are properly tempered. So this is what I'm gonna do. This cake, the top of this cake is gonna be face down on my plate, and then I'm gonna frost my cake from there. I'm gonna flip this cake upside down so that it's nice and level. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, and I will be back to show you all right, I'm back, you guys. You see how the cake is nice and leveled, everything's nice and smooth, everything came out nice. This cake is really moist feeling. I can feel the butter and the oils on my hand. Everything is perfect, everything cooled just right. And now I'm going to go ahead and add this top layer of this cake. I'm going to go ahead and frost the middle, and then I'm going to add the top layer, and then I will I guess there will be pictures at the end. So thanks for watching, you guys. Again, this is a very simple, quick alternative to buying a cake out of the store if you want that cake to taste just right. And it is a very simple alternative, you know, to calling grandma up asking her to make you a cake. You know, it's very quick, and I do recommend anybody using box cake mixes if they want a homemade cake that is simple. Like a homemade tasting cake is something that, you know, the regular ingredients from the box does not offer. Oh my gosh, that's my son in there acting crazy. But yes, you just want to go ahead and have those on hand. They're very handy to have, to me, if you want to just make a really good tasting quick cake without having to use powder and, you know, sifting the ingredients, all that. You can just add all your stuff in at one time. There's no, everything is already added in there for you. Only thing you have to add is, you know, your eggs and stuff like that. So thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry for like the coughing and the you know, my nose. I'm really kind of I'm under the weather. I'm not sick, but I'm under the weather. Like I'm coming over like some congestion issues. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and be sure to stay tuned for more. Thank you, and I will see you guys on the next one.